We are live. Oof. Gotta get some things turned down here. Okay. Well, I meant to ask you, just let me know when you want me to put the chart of the moment up, and I will do that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So,
Thank you.
let's get the chat. You got your glasses?
Yes, I have my glasses. I'm just getting my notes up where I can see them.
Good morning, and thank you if you're here watching, which I don't see anybody, but that doesn't mean there's not anyone. Welcome and good morning.
Hello, welcome. Good morning.
You are watching Rose Trone Astrology. We are doing some Astro Insights Live this morning. We're talking about the astrology for the week ahead. And it looks to be a really interesting, exciting week as far as I'm concerned in my big three. And I think it's going to be just, depending on how we're looking at things, I think that this can be a very positive week overall. But
yes,
I will leave the astrology to Melanie, who knows a heck of a lot more about that stuff than I do, although I know enough to be dangerous. But I think, Mel, are you ready? I can go ahead and get the show started.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Rose Trone Astrology. My name is Jennifer Rose, and up there waving just a second ago, right there is my wife, Mel Rose. Mel Rose is an intuitive astrologer, tarot card reader, psychic, Reiki healer, massage therapist, just overall healer, spiritual person, and my wifey. And I am Jennifer Rose. I'm an intuitive tarot card reader and a psychic medium. And today we are here to do Astro Insights Live, which we do every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're new here, thank you so much for dropping in. And please don't forget to subscribe. That helps get our algorithm going. And it also lets you know when we post videos on the regular, which hasn't been happening very often, except for our Sundays at 10 a.m. as we're getting ready to switch around our programming and everything. And after Mercury goes direct, which Mel will be talking about here momentarily, we'll be able to talk to you about some exciting things that we have in the works. And it's really been a test of patience for us to not let this cat out of the bag. But we do not like putting cats in bags, so we're ready to let the cat out of the bag. And so we're
a cat in a bag is an unhappy cat.
Right. For real. So thank you so much for tuning in. And I am going to turn this show over to Mel so we can get started talking about the astrology. But thank you so very much for being here with us today. And we hope that you will, again, subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you can know when we're back live again.
Okay, friends, thank you so much for that introduction, Jennifer. I see that we have an oracle card laid out this morning that says blessed AF. So blessed as flowers or blessed as friendship. Apply what you want to that AF there, but
yeah, thanks for remembering that.
Definitely, it reminds me that Venus and Jupiter are in Cancer together, approaching a conjunction very quickly, and that's blessings. That's our lower and upper benefic. So those are the things that make things easier for us, help us get what we need. And they're in a sign together, Cancer, where they both do very well, and they do well together. So feel the blessings, notice them, notice, the things that you have to feel grateful for. Make sure you say it out loud when you feel that gratitude, because that's part of the way that we show up for the blessings is, noticing them. They show up when we notice them. So, coming into this week, welcome back to Rose Tarot and Astrology. Thank you so much for being here. As we come into the week, did you have something? I thought I heard you say something. No. Okay. As we come into the week, yesterday was our full moon in Aquarius. And the full moon in Aquarius happens this time every year. And so this is a time of year when we're really noticing the change in the season again. We just got past midsummer, which is last week. And midsummer is that midpoint. This week goes about a week long between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. So we are halfway from peak summer to peak fall, basically. And so here in this in-between phase, what I notice out in the world is that, I'm in the United States Midwest. So I notice leaves starting to turn a little bit. Some of the trees getting light green and yellow, a little bit of yellow leaves falling. Some of the maples are starting to get a little orange around the edges. And that's just the first signs of fall. This is the time of year when the apples are getting ripe and a lot of other stuff is getting ripe. So we're going to have more fresh produce, and I'm really happy about that. Coming into this week, we had that full moon in Aquarius yesterday. And, full moon in Aquarius is, as a moon in Aquarius, I'm just going to say, we like to think of it as a less emotional kind of moon, which is interesting because the moon is about how things feel to us, how things feel to us in our bodies. And that includes our emotions. Our emotions sort of land in our bodies in a way, they feel a certain way. And so when the full moon is in Aquarius, it can feel a little less emotional, or it can feel like I'm not interested in any emotions that I can't make sense of. And, it's okay for the time being to put away, emotions that you can't make sense of, but we can't keep putting away emotions that we can't make sense of. Eventually we have to feel them all. I do really feel that. But as far as like the emotional impact of a full moon in Aquarius, it's probably a lot easier and a lot less like deeply felt in the body and in the feelings, in the emotions, as say like a watery full moon or an earthy full moon. So we have a gentle sort of full moon vibe coming into today. And, there is a lot going on in the sky at this time. We just came out of Mars moving into Libra, and then this whole configuration set up in the sky around a Mars and Saturn opposition with all this positive stuff happening, but this really strong opposition. And so it might have felt a little like a struggle, like Jennifer and I are processing good news and trying to make some fresh starts on something. And Mercury has been retrograde, and and it's just been a little bit of a struggle not to get ahead of ourselves, not to make promises that we're not sure yet that we can keep, to wait for all the information to reveal itself, to let the situation unfold a little bit. And now here we are coming to the end of the week, and it's almost time to actually take motion forward. And I remember that at the beginning of this moon cycle, back at the new moon, I said, with that full moon in Aquarius, we're going to be planning all the way up to the full moon. We're going to be thinking, considering, conversing, collaborating, making our plans, setting things up all the way to the full moon this time. It wasn't like we planned for a week and then we just, put our stuff into action, but we've really been bringing it all the way up to the full moon. So it might feel a little like we've been in our hurry up and wait. We might feel like we really want to get going on something, but we feel, a restriction, a limitation in our way. And we have to find, the balance point between that urge to get moving and that need to be practical. And there's the 9 of Wands. Like, yes, we're definitely starting to come out of that energy, but it's definitely like what we have with us as we're coming into today, for sure.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny because I was just shuffling the cards, thinking about how has, asking the question like, what has Mercury retrograde felt like for you? This is exactly it. Like there is so much to do and there are so many ways to go forward. And it's just like, it's like every single turn that I go down to try to do something in order to support what we have going forward, it's like, no, you've got to do these things first. And all of these things can't be done because of because of Mercury. Let me clarify something for you. I'm not saying that everyone should adhere to the Mercury retrograde rules. Mel and I have been really taking stock of Mercury retrograde and some things that have happened to us in past Mercury retrogrades, and we are finally learning how to navigate these times where we don't throw away a lot of our heart and soul into something that never ends up coming into fruition or ends up being confrontational even. And I feel like the last couple of times that we've hit Mercury retrograde, and the reason why we kind of succumbed to those things that we knew we shouldn't have was because we felt a desperation when we weren't. Like, I feel like we felt desperate or destitute or something, and then all of a sudden, whoa, someone with light around them appears, and really we should have just taken a step back. But instead, we just kind of went forward with it, and then the light just disappeared, just like that.
Yes, yes. You get a little too excited and gung ho, and you're like ready to make the commitment, and you know that it's Mercury retrograde, and you know, like, this is not the time, but we do it anyway. So this time we have chosen, even though the opportunity has seemed pretty solid and golden, very good, to wait until Mercury is at least direct before we can make any statements about what we are definitely planning to do. But that doesn't mean we haven't been able to use this time simply to be in planning and to be imagining and to be talking and collaborating and thinking about what we're going to make of the opportunity that we've seen. So any of you out there, do you have any experience with opportunities coming up for you when Mercury is retrograde and having to navigate like how that goes forward? Because I would love to hear it. It seems like we always have some kind of opportunity come up when Mercury is retrograde, and it really is a matter of like what we make of it. Like, do we feel desperate, or do we feel especially excited, or like it's an especially great opportunity that we can't miss out on? And when you feel like there's an opportunity you can't miss out on, you feel like, oh well, I have to commit right now. And the thing with Mercury is, no, we got to take our time. Like if we can do it this week, we can do it next week too. So that's been the vibration.
Right. It's also kind of like, it reminds me of, when we lived apart and we were forced to kind of get to know one another on the phone and talk and do all those old school things. Like, and I think that really it created a solid foundation for our relationship. And I think this is that foundation building kind of energy now.
Yeah. It's along the lines of rejection is protection. Like, like waiting is not really bad for you. It helps you be prepared. And then, in reference to that Nine of Wands too, though, there's like that vibe, like, okay, but this is almost over. This part, this really challenging part, this part where we have to think, where our actions are all about planning and holding back on actually committing. This part is almost over. When we get to the 9, we're almost done. And you can look back and go like, woo, this has been a journey. It's been a little bit tough, but I just have a couple more things I have to do before I can finish this up and do something differently. Oh, I like that lighting. It's kind of lacy.
The lighting.
Yes.
I know. I was like, oh, it just kind of looks a little distorted. But anyway, so I thought I'd shine some light on it. All right.
Okay. So today, the sun is in Leo and the moon is in Pisces. We had the full moon in Aquarius yesterday, and then it went into Pisces. Now, my lovely wife down here, Jennifer Rose, has her moon, her natal chart moon in Pisces. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be moon in Pisces, my love.
Moon in Pisces could be summed up in one word, which is moody. And community. Like, so if there are things happening today, I'll feel them. It also means I'm dreaming. Like, I woke up to and even talk with you about the dreams that I had. These dreams are kind of closing chapters this time. So I like that. And I think that's because we're still in this full moon energy for Pisces moons.
Mhm.
But, I'm in my emotions and I'm trying to figure those out, and also looking at my addictions, especially
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
eating
Mhm.
addictions and all those types of things. So I'm really feeling emotional about things, but I'm also feeling like that water doesn't need to like spill out or spill over. It just is going to push forward. Like we're going to break some barriers now. We're going to use that water and those emotions and everything that I've, like intuition that I've wasted because of, swimming around and just kind of overflowing. So I feel like it's a good thing. Like I feel like if I'm a fish, I'm just being carried on the wave forward, and then I'll go into some new
Yeah.
waters.
The water is well contained and you can use its power to propel you.
Yes, and I'm here with the anchors to say, like the anchors here
Mhm.
to say, hey,
Um,
it's time to anchor
And
ourselves.
Moon in Pisces really is the end of a chapter. Every month we have a moon in Pisces, and every month it is the end of a lunar chapter. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And all year we've been talking about that clicking point between Pisces into Aries, and how we have to go through the end of things, Nine of Wands there, to get to the beginning of the next thing. So, Pisces is about looking back, it's about reflecting, it's about relaxing, and sort of allowing yourself to be contained, and sort of processing all the stuff that has come out in the wash, so to speak, so that when we get to that moon in Aries, we can start taking some initiative.
Oh, yes.
So that's where we are today. Challenging end of the week last week. If you had any challenges at the end of the week last week, please do let me hear about them. We've definitely had a little bit of challenge, but nothing too bad, nothing really too hard. There's a lot of positive stuff going on. So the things that are difficult, it's okay, because I can kind of look to the good stuff and say, okay, but we've got good things going on. Like, we're going to move forward with this. So today is Sunday. Tomorrow is Monday, August 11, and that is the end of Mercury's retrograde. Okay, and that happens pretty early in the morning. So it's really like tonight, where I am. It's going to be 2:30 in the morning in the Midwest. So that's when Mercury goes direct. In Leo still. So, Mercury in Leo, we're still thinking about leadership, thinking about, where we bring leadership, where we're in a leadership role, the things we have to be in charge of, including ourselves. And also we're thinking about leadership in the world, and how it communicates with us, and how it acts, and what we want from it, what we think we should be able to expect. It's a very interesting time to be focusing on those things, wouldn't you say, Jennifer? So
There's a lot of interesting, current events that are happening, that I firmly believe that most politicians are using astrology in some way, shape, or form to inform their decision making and know when the right time to go forward is. And I'm looking at this whole stuff with the Ukraine and Putin and Trump, like this meeting they're supposed to have the 15th in Alaska. Oh, maybe Zelensky will be there, and maybe he won't. Like maybe they'll just decide upon Zelensky's country's land together, and maybe they won't. So I feel like that's a really Leo in charge. I feel like that's two people who, in physical stature, are bigger than the other country, and I think that they're just really, doing what they do. It seems like typical white guy colonization to me, but hey.
is it it's a pissing contest over a European country. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's not even anybody's but their own.
Right.
Yeah, so I do find it interesting what's going on politically as we're talking about leadership roles, and I do expect to see a lot of changes and some people being let go from the administration even. So we'll see.
Mhm. So when Mercury ends retrograde, what I want to say is that it goes back over territory that we've already been over twice. Okay, we went over this territory in the sky, and then we went back during the retrograde, and now we're going forward again. And that's between 4 degrees and 15 degrees of Leo. So as long as we're between 4 degrees and 15 degrees of Leo, which is going to be the next week-ish, we really are still in, sort of a post-retrograde phase where we are coming back to things that we've already had to reflect on. Okay, so this is the third pass on a lot of things. And I really think that in the coming week or so, it's going to be like, okay, we've talked about this. We've talked about this twice. This is the third time. We're making the choice. We're going forward. And especially since it's in Leo, we can be really decisive. And that doesn't mean that we lack patience. It means that we're just ready to take action. Like, we have had the patience, we have taken the time, and now it's time to, make the commitments and take the actions. So that's Mercury retrograde. The other two things that are happening today, one is that Saturn is sextiling Uranus. And this is something that's going to be with us on and off for a while. These are slow moving planets. They're both moving sort of backward right now. But when Saturn is sextile to Uranus, this is lending some security, some stability to something that is always in motion. So something that's always in motion. Let's see, the world turns on its axis. The news cycle is always in motion. The political cycle is always in motion. People, life in the world is always in motion. So this is a chance for us to find some stabilizing point, especially in those parts of our lives where we feel like things are changing very quickly. What it makes me think of is like when you're learning to dance and you learn to do a spin, and then you want to spin and spin and spin and spin. The idea is you have to come back to a fixed point. Okay, there has to be one fixed point every time that you turn around. You're going to come back and focus on that point again, and that helps you maintain your center, your equilibrium. It helps you stay balanced as you're spinning and spinning. And then the big deal tomorrow is, oh, thank you for that. I didn't even remember to ask you for it. The big deal tomorrow is that Venus is going to conjunct Jupiter. So you can see in the upper left-hand side there, Venus and Jupiter right next to each other in Cancer. Tomorrow, the conjunction is perfect. These are our benefics, our lovers of life, the planets that want us to have all the stuff and things we like, love, and can't get enough of. The planets that want us to make bigger connections in the world and have bigger, better experiences. This is so easy. This is so sweet. This is so inviting and full of pleasure. Okay, and Jupiter always wants more. So Venus being sweetness, being pleasure, being delight, and Jupiter wanting more. What this tells us is there might be a little bit of excessiveness. It's interesting to me that when you look at that chart and you see that shape on the chart, I mean, right now the shape almost looks like a house. That's called a castle shape. But all the other planets seem to be somehow involved in talking to one another. But Venus and Jupiter are just over here in Cancer, right next to each other, having their own conversation. Okay, so if it is that you feel like you cannot deal with what is going on out in the world, if it feels overwhelming, even good stress, is stress. Okay, even positive things bring a certain amount of stress, a certain amount of tension to our experience. And Jupiter and Venus being off here in Cancer, might just help people feel like they have an excuse to over imbibe, drink too much, take too much of whatever it is that gives you pleasure, and sort of overdo it. And the guidance really here is to try not to overdo it. Anything, what is it? An ounce of medicine is worth a pound of cure. That doesn't mean that you take a pound of medicine. Okay. Any medicine that you take too much of is still going to be toxic for you. So be careful not to overdo it this week. And especially tomorrow is going to be the big day for that Venus conjunction to Jupiter. But, if you have love in your life, if you're looking for love in your life, if you have a potential If you're looking for a meet cute, or if there's just some potential there for you to want to get out and enjoy the company of your sweet loved one, this is a great vibration for that combination of Venus and Jupiter in Cancer under pressure combined. It just brings explosive romantic vibes, and I really encourage you to indulge in them responsibly, and with somebody that you care about. So that is the Venus conjunction to Jupiter. Going into, and what else do I want to say about this chart today before I move on? So you see that shape on the chart. And if you're looking, you see maybe like a house shape. You see a great big green triangle across the middle of the chart. You can also see a rectangle that's a little bit like an envelope shape with the oppositions crisscrossing that. You've got Mercury opposite Uranus and Mars opposite Saturn and Neptune. So these are some challenging oppositions, but those green lines, they're all trines. Those purple lines, they're all sextiles. So we have a lot of really positive stuff sort of encompassing the difficult things that are happening right now. So, Mercury being opposite Uranus, that's, surprises, like things that are going to surprise us, things are going to come up in our plans. It's a little bit like an extension of a Mercury retrograde, just like remember that Mercury can still surprise you at this time. We've been having fun with electronics the past couple of weeks here. Like we tried to watch TV the other night and we just got kicked out like 10 minutes in. We tried for half an hour, I think, to get back into that TV show.
We did. And I think, yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned, you did say about the castle. Did you say about the castle? Yeah. Because,
I'm talking about, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard you talking about all the different shapes and everything in there. So I remember when you showed this to me, you sent it to me in a message, and I saw all those things. I saw a star, I saw a diamond, I saw an envelope, and I just really, I was like, wow, this is manifestation kind of stuff. Like, to me, this is like, get rid of it, put it in the envelope, and get rid of it, put it away, or save it back, put it away, or an envelope's coming, at you with something good. I love all of that energy that's just in that chart. I don't know. It just looks awesome. And art wise, it seems really, I don't know, important.
Yeah, Nadia Shah has been calling this a near Star of David, and I see what she means. A real Star of David would not be with exactly those aspects, but this shape is really, it's fortunate. It feels like a blessing. It does feel a little intense, but like things are really really like we have opportunities to move forward. And that envelope shape that's part of the castle really is a marker for high achievement. And then it's all set off on the top by Uranus in Gemini. So listen, resistance to change is not working for us right now, friends. If you see changes coming in your life, you probably realized this week that, or maybe you haven't yet, but try to realize soon that resistance to change is not going to work for us right now. It's just going to fall flat every time. So when you see changes coming, it's time to just start taking deep breaths and trying to embrace them the best that we can, trying to make a positive, see a silver lining on the bright side. And that's okay because it's part of this bigger, like really fortunate configuration in the astrology, a configuration that we're going to come back to this time next year, and it's going to be even stronger. So that's really exciting. We're getting a little taste of what's coming up next year before all these planets retrograde back into their former signs. So I love that. And although it is challenging, I just want to say hang in there, because after last week's Mars opposition to Saturn, which we are still in, we're still dealing with the challenge of that. But after all of that is complete, after we start to fall out of this configuration, things are becoming a lot less challenging. Okay, so that's kind of the message there, is that things are challenging, but they're about to get better. And, especially if we're willing to plan, if we're willing to cooperate, that grand trine in air, that big green triangle there, tells us that that planning is our superpower at this time, that being able to communicate with others is our superpower at this time. Okay. Say what you think. Okay. And collaborate with people that you can trust with your plans and your best interest, because this is a great time to be making progress. So, with that said, Venus on the 13th, on Wednesday, has a conversation with Uranus that is really motivating. So Uranus is up there in Gemini, and it's the change is literally in the air, and Venus is going to have this conversation with Uranus that says, okay, like, we're changing, we want change, we want to see some change, that's what we desire. So Venus is conjuncting Jupiter, and it's having these two are having a conversation with Uranus that might show how we're suddenly attracted to other possibilities. We might just find ourselves desiring something more exciting, potentially disruptive. Maybe we want to be some interrupters or disruptors in the world. It's really just having that feeling. Okay. It's really very motivating to have that feeling like, this is exciting. It's a big change, and I want to take action. You don't have to do anything about it necessarily on Wednesday, but do notice that urge to act, especially on something that you see is in fluctuation. The urge to act right there.
Right. I was like, oh, well, I can't think of a better card. And I love that I laid that down and that it's facing toward the blessed AF card. So
yes.
We're running into our blessings. We're running toward our blessings. We're opening ourselves up for our blessings, for the abundance. I've seen a lot of my friends and people that I know who are, calling it in, finally allowing ourselves to feel that abundance come in after it just seems like all week long. It's like, hey, take care of this. Hey, take care of this. Hey, take care of this. And now we're going to be able to see the blessings from all those things that we've been, avoiding, or that we've just been curating, working on. And I think that's pretty magical. But don't
forget to say that also, huh?
Don't forget to take frequent breaks.
Yes. I want to say that also, in terms of riding a horse, the symbolism of riding a horse, part of it is that we are harnessing the power of another animal to make the progress that we want to make. So, it just reminds me that, like, on the chart, we have all that really motivational energy with Venus and Jupiter and Uranus. We have very motivational energy this week. And like, when you feel that motivation and when you have that opportunity to act, ride the wave, friends. Like, get on your surfboard. Take advantage of the energy and the power that is underneath you, so that you can just make that progress. And then on Thursday, August the 14th, Mars moves on into Libra. Okay, so this is fun. Just last week, Venus moved on into Cancer, and then this coming week, Venus makes a conjunction with Jupiter. Now Mars is moving on into Libra. And, because we have all of these big outer planets like Pluto and Saturn and Neptune and Uranus, they're all at the beginnings of the signs that they're in right now. Every time a planet moves into a new sign, it's going to aspect all of these other planets. It's going to light up the sky and have a whole bunch of conversations. So Mars in Libra, when Mars is in Libra, we want our actions to make a difference. We really want to act for justice. We want to set things right. It's very much like a night of air kind of vibration. It asks us to take a measured approach. Okay, Mars in Libra doesn't just go off half-cocked. It says, how many hours is it going to take me to get there? And what am I going to need when I get there? And when I get there, like, what are we going to do? We want to take a measured approach. We want to have a plan before we move forward. That has been the vibe all along. And we want to consider other people in our plans as well. Remember, we don't do anything in a vacuum. We always eventually need somebody's assistance. So let's consider like what the people around us are going to need from us before we act. Also, on Thursday, the 14th, Mercury is going to sextile Mars. And this is a vibe that's going to be kind of on and off for the next several days because Mercury was retrograde, Mars was moving forward, and they sextiled, and then Mercury went forward, and they sextiled again. And then Mars sped away, and then Mercury is catching up, so it's going to sextile again. So this is a vibration that is following us over the next week or so. And this is a harmonious aspect. We can imagine that that this energy will allow us to like make plans of action that are viewed by others as being fair, that are not just right to us, but because we've given them due consideration, they're right for the people that are involved with us. And then on the evening of Thursday, the 14th, the moon moves on into Taurus, makes a quick square to Pluto. So on that evening, on Thursday evening, you just want to, what do I want to say? Oh, you want to be patient with yourself. Okay. You might feel a little obstinate or stubborn, right? Like, so there might be a vibe where you're feeling obstinate or someone or something is being obstinate with you. This is, like a hang up, maybe with your body, maybe not able to do something you would like to be able to do, or just feeling resistant to doing something that you want to do or need to do. Mars in Libra says, broaden your perspective. It's better for everyone involved if you look at the big picture and try to take actions that are fair and balanced for yourself and for others. And then on Friday the 15th, we have the waning half moon in Taurus, which means we're halfway from this full moon we just had yesterday to the new moon that's coming up the next week, which will be another Friday. So that waning half moon is a time when, we're past the full moon. And this month, because we were planning right up to the full moon, the release happens. And the release really has to do with what we're building next month. So this is when Jennifer and I are going to start releasing information about our big news. This is when, you want to let people in on what your plans are and start, sort of clearing space for the new stuff to come in. And then on Saturday the 16th, Mercury sextiling Mars again. It's a really bold feeling. Mars in Libra always needs to see the other side of the coin to be effective. So if you see somebody who's frustrated because they want to take action, maybe they feel like they should be able to take action right now, something is preventing them from taking action, and maybe you just understand that the person is not seeing the whole picture. Maybe you're the person who's feeling frustrated and blocked and not able to take action because something or someone is getting in your way. That means at this time that you just need more information. Okay. You need to tune into what the other side of the story is. You need to, update yourself on what the rules and regulations are, or update yourself on what other people are dealing with at this time. And we're just not acting for ourselves at this time. We're acting for all the people who are partners in our lives. So keep that in mind. Get more information. If you're feeling frustrated, there's probably something you're not aware of.
Yes, that reminds me of my idea about driving. Again, we always come back to driving, but if you don't know the rules, get the DMV book and read about them. There was something else I was going to add, but I saw a lightning strike out there outside. We're having some thunderstorms here. Yeah, we're having a little bit of weather, so I got distracted by the shiny bolt of light. But maybe I'll remember it. But yes. But okay. What were you talking about? Like
like needing more information. Like if you're feeling frustrated, or you see somebody who's feeling frustrated because they can't take action, they feel like they're being prevented in some way, it means at this time that we need information, because Mars in Libra, we don't just act on our own impulse. Okay. We act according to what's good for, the partners that we have around us.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
try to see the other person's point of view. Try to look at the things that you might not have seen before. Every coin has two sides. You can only look at one side at a time. Okay. So be aware though, that if you can't understand why you can't move forward, there's more to learn. And then that night, Saturday night, the moon moves on into Gemini. Moon in Gemini, more thinking, planning, creating, dancing, socializing. It's a very social kind of moon. It's a good time to chat people up and share ideas and inspiration. It's a very active day for the moon that day, as well as it is anytime the moon enters a new sign right now, because of all those other planets that are at the beginning of signs. And this is part of the energy that we're coming into in the next year, because we're going to have signs back up and then make this fresh start in a new sign again next year. And so that sense of beginning and that sense of potential, a little bit under pressure, a little bit frustrated that we're feeling right now, there's a reality to it. It's not unfolding like very quickly necessarily in the here and now, but there are new beginnings on the horizon, like really just over the horizon. Okay, the sun is about to rise, my friends. So let's just be patient with ourselves and patient with others, and make sure we have all the information we need to take action. And then I just want to say quickly that next week, not this coming week, but the week after that, is when Venus moves on into Leo, and also when the sun goes into Virgo right before the new moon in Virgo. So the sun is going to conjunct the moon the day it moves into Virgo, and that's going to be a very powerful new moon. And that's the astrology for this week, friends.
What do you like best about this week's astrology? What kind of energies are we looking to harness here? What can we capitalize on here for the good of everyone and ourselves? Do you think?
I really am loving the Venus conjunct Jupiter energy of tomorrow. I think it's a great way to kick off the week. I feel like we've already been feeling this since Venus went into Cancer before, but Venus and Jupiter and the conversations that they are having this week really bring a lot of good fortune to us. They really give us a lot of potential to kind of understand what it is that we really want, and to also envision the bigger, better life we imagine for ourselves as a result of getting the things that we want. So it's sort of like desire and providence all mashed up together, and acting on one another at this time. So what I can say is, think about what you desire. Not just as a whim, not just in the here and now. I can think about what I desire right now all day long, but really think about where you're trying to go and what you're trying to get, what kind of nice things you want to have, how it is that you feel supported in the world. And, those are the things that we desire. Those are the blessings that we need to try to show up for. And that's what Jupiter wants us to do, is like show up where you want to be blessed. You want to, you want to make good money at your job. You got to be at your job. you want to win the lottery, you got to play the lottery. If you want to win a Grammy Award, you got to put a lot of time in to making music. So you got to show up and be doing the thing where you want to have the best opportunities show up for you.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to switch over to the tarot card reading portion.
Yes.
I don't know about many of you, but right now with these seasons kind of changing, I struggle with autoimmune disease, and I have rheumatoid disease. And with the weather changes, we've had a lot of temperature changes and weather changes, and my body is just not having any of it. So I've been a little bit quiet today, just kind of letting this storm go through. I think we're supposed to have many, many inches of rain though. So today I will take it easy and do the things that I know that I can do from my chair, which is where I'm reporting to you live today in my cushy cream again chair. But if this is you, I feel you and I see you, and I know that the end is near. The end of this little of feeling is near. And you know, you were talking about watching out for overindulging, and I think you and I are always somehow about 72 hours before the actual astrology hits, right? So
Yeah.
in all seriousness, these last 3 or 4 days, I have had to take prednisone, and even a low dose, but even a low dose just makes me hungry for, sugary things or potato chips or whatever the hell it is. And I feel I kept thinking, like, every time I wanted something, now I did go and I splurged, and I've eaten Taco Bell and I've eaten donuts and all that stuff. Which is not even aside from the prednisone, honestly, but it's really just like a little bit of an excuse for me to do those things. Honestly, I had to reel myself in, even from what I was doing, which was not over what I normally do. Like, if I normally have one donut, I didn't have six. But in my
Right.
mind, I wanted to buy six. Like if I had walked up to a place that had the thing that I wanted and they had a really good deal on them these last few days, I would buy them hand over fist. And I would probably even buy some that I had intended to give to people and never did. I would be inundated with those things. And I've watched myself go through these same cycles and overindulge in some kind of ways. And every time that I overindulge the way that my mind and my body and my hormones and my chemicals wanted me to overindulge in, and it ended up me being sick or not being able to sleep well or not being able to get up or do the things that I wanted to do. And it was all my fault. So I really had that in my mind when I was going, and I was, just kind of, I don't know, feeding my animal inside. I don't know, but that feeding the prednisone. So still, yet it's really good not to overindulge. Right, this week, to just be careful about that. And I'm saying this over
Yes.
for myself, but I'm just saying, range what causes me, the causation of my overindulgence. And it's also, while I'm going through this, it's also teaching me something about myself, because I'm open to it, because I can't do anything else because Mercury is in retrograde. So now I have no choice but to focus on this thing that's right in front of me, which is my body hurting, taking a medicine that increases my appetite, and then making sure that A, I have a whole lot of water, B, I don't take more of it than I need to, and C, that I don't overeat myself into a diabetic coma over a small pill.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. So there's always, you always have to pay for compensation. I mean, not for compensation, for you have to always have to pay for overindulgence,
Yeah.
like whether it's a hangover from drinking, or, just like feeling too sleepy the next day, or but a lot of us, especially as we're aging, like we have a bigger blowback from a smaller thing than we used to have. Like it can just be spicy food or too much sugar or something like that, and the payback for it is just, it comes back to not really being worth it. That's why you meet so many sort of older people who have quit doing anything that you think is fun, because the fun stuff has a blowback. It's a little bit challenging to recover from.
Yes. And then there are a lot of old folks that only eat sugary things.
For real. Okay, so today's card reading. Let's do one for, yesterday was the full moon. I want to do one for Jupiter, for Venus conjunct Jupiter.
Okay. When is that?
And
is that happening right now?
That's tomorrow.
Venus conjunct Jupiter.
It's tomorrow. So we're very close to it. We're basically conjunct now. They're basically conjunct now, but they will perfect that. They will come right together in the sky from our perspective. They're not really actually joining up in the sky. They'll come right together in the sky from our perspective, and that gives us a feeling of intensity around those planets, Venus and Jupiter. So, Venus conjunct Jupiter, the potential for overindulgence, really feeling what we need and desire, really to show up to take in our blessings. What is the vibe for Venus conjunct Jupiter? Four of Wands.
I like that. I like that.
So this is like a mile marker. It's a little bit like we do a festival here, or we have a party, we celebrate something that we have collaborated together to achieve. So, sometimes there's kind of a wedding vibe with this. Sometimes I get graduation from it, but this is sort of like crossing a threshold into the next level, friends.
Definitely. We know there are people entering colleges and other sorts of schools, leveling up from, high school, from middle school to high school and grade school to middle school. And everybody is out there getting their hustle and bustle on to get that going. And I do love this. This is a new structure, just a new threshold to walk through and to, I don't know, I just see a lot of accomplishment here and a lot of patience that went into this accomplishment. So kudos to you if you're out there and you're getting ready to pay off your car. I can feel that. Somebody's getting ready to make the last couple of payments on something, and that feels pretty amazing.
Good.
And that's something that someone's been saving up for or, counting on for a long, long time. But I love the energy of this, and it is about your home and where you feel at home and how you feel at home, and also how safe you feel at home, what you need and want in your home, all of those things. To me, this Four of Wands card, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm not going to say much more because then I've already Mercury retrograded myself. Call that something like I've Mercury. I don't know what to call that. I've retrograded myself.
So I just want to say that to me, this card is looking today a little bit like a minor world card, like some smaller chapter is coming to an end, and it is a chance to pause and celebrate and say, yay, we did it, before we get on to the other work that we have to do.
We did it. I love that.
Yes.
I love that we did it, darling. And the blessed AF, we did it.
So now I want to pull some,
Lots of blessings.
Lots of blessings, really. Good reasons to celebrate.
Yes.
So now I want to pull a card for the vibe of Mercury going direct. What guidance do we need for this week as Mercury goes direct tomorrow? What kind of guidance do we need? Page of Pentacles, friends. Keep your eye on your nest egg. Let's be wise with our resources, but that doesn't mean that we don't use them. It means that we're ready to make a start.
Right. Yeah, I'm really not shocked that card showed up. I'm looking for it in my deck. I had 3 pages show up in the first top 3 of my cards. So if that tells you anything, if I were to draw this
pages, card, and then the other one's buried deep.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I like this card. It's just time to take what you want and put it out there. It's just time to
yes.
It's time to invest in yourself, to make that investment, to move that thing forward. For some reason, I just thought of somebody standing on top of a barrel, and walking on it and rolling it. Like it's just really time to get the ball rolling, is what I'm saying. And
yes,
and that's really well supported. On the Page of Pentacles, though, I want to draw a card on that because it's a page and it's moving forward.
Okay.
Unless you have something to say.
I'd love to see what you draw.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Look, we've been holding on. Yeah, we've been holding on for a long time. You know, like, so this is what, the Eight of Swords. Yes, the eight.
Yeah.
We drew the Nine of, was it Wands? I think
Mhm.
those two cards kind of just represent. So going forward in all these great new beginnings, there can also be a whole hell of a lot of anxiety and depression that comes along with them. Like, so change is hard, okay, but then bigger changes are even harder for some people. And then if we float into the change without giving or realizing those things that might be hard, we're going to get slapped with something that we didn't understand or that we didn't know we were going to have happen to us when we're going forward. But this is really all part of the process. And I want to say, like, this is more of something that you're doing yourself as opposed to what the energy is asking of you. Okay, so these
Yeah.
are going to come up even in the brightest of times. Okay, you're going to have to hear things that you don't want to hear, and you're going to have to go through some things that you hadn't planned on, even though you've had all this time to plan for them. But you're gonna, yeah, so you're gonna be fine. I was like, this isn't the way that we end, but enlist the help of other people, of partnerships, of your friends, of just people who either love what it is that you're doing or just love you and will
Mhm.
provide you with that, that little toxic positivity you might need just to get over that little hump, because we're all going to go out there really excited. There's really, like,
Mhm.
some energy that says, like, hey,
Mhm.
like, there's some pop-up energy here. Like, these things can pop up. I won tickets. I've found money all week. And this is still happening, right? But in a different way, because now Mercury is moving in a way where we can have a different conversation. So the conversations, while they're going to be the positive, we also are the ones that hold ourselves back sometimes. So
Mhm.
remember to enlist the help of a friend, of your favorite caffeinated drink in the morning. If getting up mornings is having to start early for you when school starts, just enlist the help of a friend. I get by
Mhm.
with a little help from my friends, and just, remind yourself that disappointments do happen, and it doesn't mean that we have to dwell in them or sit in them or even reenact them over and over and over again. Because I really feel like, and I've learned that that's just really so much chaos that you're still bringing chaos in. So that thing that crops up because you've made all these plans and you've done all this planning, these things that crop up, it doesn't mean that you've done something wrong or, oh no, you've forgotten about that. Yes, but it doesn't mean that you can't just fix it really quickly and move on. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to browbeat yourself about it. You don't have to do any of that. And if you can't get out of that energy, then enlist someone or something that can, preferably
Mhm.
not one of our normal addictions, because we're working away from those. But we will dip back and forth, Pisces, Aries, and that may happen, but just get back on the horse and ride. Just keep going.
Yeah. Uh, Something that comes up for me, especially when I'm looking at the Eight of Swords and the Lovers, there is, when you're in an Eight of Swords kind of position where you've talked yourself into something, or you're worried about the mistakes of the past, or you're worried about what people are saying or what people are perceiving.
Mhm.
Lovers is about choice, and it's hard to know what you want, what you would choose about yourself when you're worried about what other people think about you.
Mhm.
And, yes, it does matter how we make other people feel, but at a certain point, you have to, like, put aside what other people are going to think and ask yourself what you would choose for yourself, what would make you the most happy, and then find a way to bring about that choice, you know, in a way that feels satisfying to you, and not worrying about what's happened in the past, what kind of mistakes you might have made in the past, what kind of things you might have talked yourself into before. But also, the other thing that comes up for me with that Eight of Swords is, don't fool yourself. Okay, if something if you're doing something again that you've done before, and it didn't work out for you then, okay, halt, stop. Okay, something's got to be different. Okay, we've got to bring something new and different to the thing. If you keep choosing what you think other people would choose for you, keep choosing what's supposed to be good for you because you saw it on TV or because your mother told you, if you keep choosing other people's choices for you, then you're not ever going to really have your choice. You're not ever really going to have the partnership you seek in your life, and you're not going to manifest your dreams the way you'd like to manifest them. So, worry less about what you've done before that was a mistake. Don't do it again. Worry less about what people are thinking, and really try to think about what you would choose for yourself in this moment and for the future, and work toward that.
I agree with you there. I think it's going to be an excellent week, and everyone use this energy to your advantage. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't overdo it. Don't underdo it. We're figuring out about this temperance for this year in all of the ways. We've already figured out a lot
about the bottom of my deck.
The magician.
Yes.
I love that. Yes. You are the magician. You create your own spaces and places, and you show up in those spaces and places. And I want to say, if those spaces and places don't already exist, there's an opportunity for someone to create those spaces and places.
Yes.
Right. So thank you so much, Mel. Ooh, my battery's running low. I better go fast.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Melrose, for giving us the astrology for next week, your Astrology Today programs, and all of your insights. I am very blessed to know astrology thanks to you. So I appreciate you so much. And I appreciate you allowing me here with you to talk about astrology. And I appreciate you out there. We appreciate you out there watching us. Those who are watching and haven't subscribed, please do so. And hit that notification bell. As I said, things are going to change about our programming. You want to keep up to date with that. And we are here every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for Astro Insights Live. And on Thursdays, if we can manage our schedules to do so at 7 p.m., we will do Yes or No Tarot. So Thank you so much. We are coming to you live from Kansas City, Missouri, Lee Summit, Missouri, to be exact. And we appreciate all of you out there who are watching and those who are just now joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Much, much love to you all. It's going to be a great week.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.